One day my parents called me and said, we're gonna bring you to us. But in the middle of the sea, boat stopped working, water's getting in. And at one point, I fainted. The waves, they don't crash, but it becomes a big wall in front of you. Yeah. Here we are, 20-foot fishing boat, just crying out for our lives. We could have been sold at any time. We could have been just given away at any time. Because this guy that we never met had a guardian. People understand that sometimes they have a calling for mission. Sometimes they, I really want to go to Africa and help people and all this. But it's like, how do you say that you have a calling for serving and we step out of your doorstep and you have a homeless there and you just step over? Do not try to do this big thing at once. Start with a little.
We believe that the next wave of innovation is innovation in the area of social impact.
We want to try to bring awareness about the incarcerated.
A huge number of people are currently homeless simply because they cannot get legal help.
A safe place where they can get set free.
There's no hack for human connection.
Codependency is an addiction.
Do not try to do this big thing at once. Start with a little.
When you're searching for the gold, you will get back so much more than you ever thought possible.
So what do you think? The ball's in your court. This is the Innovate podcast, powered by Geo, and I'm your host, Ted Hahs, and we're here in the House of Web3 in the Presidio in San Francisco, and I'm here with my guest, my good friend, Bruno Freitas. And what we're talking about today is how we as people of faith, Bruno's a man of faith, can innovate to just make a difference. You know, the whole subject of innovate, the whole subject of this podcast, we're in Silicon Valley and we are known for innovation, technological innovation. We have changed the world. We've generated incredible amounts of wealth. But unfortunately, during the same period of time that we've generated this, we've built the world's largest companies that the world has ever seen. Simultaneous, we're also the leader in human trafficking.
That's right.
We're a leader in homelessness. We're a leader in poverty, like the difference between the rich and the poor. We're a leader in prison recidivism, in unequal access to justice, in mass incarceration. But what's our dream? What if we can take that innovative spirit that solves problems and address it to the world's biggest problems, these social problems? And our dream is a world without human trafficking, a world without homelessness.
That's right.
And I believe if we collaborate together and we all work together, that's the world we can create, and that's the world we can leave for our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren. Hey, that's a mission worth striving for. That gets me up in the morning.
Yeah.
So you're a pastor. You're also a business owner. And tell them a little bit about what you do right now. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Bruno Freitas. I'm 33 years old. I'm originally from Brazil. Young guy, yeah. Brasileiro, yeah.
My wife's Portuguese, so we connected in that area. But.
Yeah. So came over when I was 16 in a crazy way, and we're going to share about that today. But today I get to serve this amazing church in San Francisco where we're helping out the need of the city. It's not a need of a region. It's not a need only of a place. It's a need of the city. It's a need of the Bay. Right, and the whole United States does suffer with homeless situation right now. And I just embrace that, and I love serving. And one thing that I tell my friends and family is like, I got married to this land, man. I love the Bay Area. This is the place where I want to just. Yeah. I got married here, so I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving till see Jesus comes back. Jesus come back, you know.
And you're also a business owner, right?
Yeah. So I run a construction business today. I used to be one of those guys who see at Home Depot waiting on people to pick them up, and that's how I started everything. With my first business, when I was 23, I hit my first $1 million in business. Hey, $1 million! You know, that was nothing, but you know, we just kept going, striving under pressure, and then we got to this company right now, Empire Pavers, where we hit an 8-figure in revenue. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I was joking earlier, you're a pastor. Well, they slapped a title on you just because you're doing it anyways. And what I really love about Experience Church, I know you're a pastor, Mark Smallcombe, from years back. Yeah. And it's one of those faith communities that's not insular about us, you know, and, you know, our needs. You're really outward focused. And how can we serve the community? How can we love people? And I really love that. But you mentioned you're an immigrant. So Do you know that an immigrant is twice as likely to become a millionaire than a natural-born citizen?
I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, because immigrants, they appreciate the opportunity more and they work their tail off.
I guess we do.
It's beautiful. I mean, really, we're a nation of immigrants. My wife's an immigrant, and that's what America is, and so that's beautiful. But you're an immigrant and you have quite a dramatic story. So why don't you share?
Yeah, great.
More about that.
So I was born and raised in Brazil, like I said, until I was 16, right? So I come from a very humble family, luckily, and thank God, we always had food,
What part of Brazil?
My city is called Bay of San Francisco.
Oh. Destiny.
And then my state is called the Holy Spirit State.
Yeah.
And the capital of my state is called Victory.
Espírito Santo.
Espírito Santo, yeah. Estado do Espírito Santo. And then the capital, it's called Victory, Vitória.
Victoria. And where is it at in Brazil?
So it's between Bahia and Rio de Janeiro.
Okay.
So a little state there called Espírito Santo.
Okay. Very rural?
Yeah, very rural, close to the coast. So you have the whole state. On the side of the state, you have the ocean, Atlantic Ocean, right? The water's good and everything's fine out there. We used to live all the way in a little city called Bay of San Francisco and grew up in a very humble family. My great grandma, which is my hero, she used to go to the chop houses when it's kind of emotional. I don't want to get there, but she used to go to the chop house, just get the guts and the tripes and things that they were throwing away, and that's where she made money to provide to my grandpa and my aunties and uncles.
She would pick those up and sell them?
She'll pick those up, clean up, and then I don't know if you know this, but majority of the makeup and the things that the women wear today on their face has a fat base, and that fat comes from guts.
Wow.
Sorry for the ladies out there, but it's actually the fat that generates that. You do soap bars and you do things like cosmetics and things like that. So what she used to do, she used just to clean that up, prepare a meal, sell it, or go to the carnicerias, açougues, and just sell it to them so they can do sausages, so they can do other things now and sell the tripes. And so she was like getting things that was going to waste, going to the trash, and produce food and produce an income for our family. That's like, you want to talk about entrepreneur? That right there, that's my base.
So beautiful.
I think that's where it comes from in my life. So I never saw that.
Tripas is really quite good.
So
there's a district in Portugal that specializes in that because they had to give all the food away and all the preservable parts of the cow for the Crusades. So they specialized in, man, they're magicians. Brazilians too. The magicians with food. They can make it taste so good.
So things that were supposed to be disposable, she turned into income. She turned into a meal onto our tables. And my grandpa, which I grew up with them, and when my parents came over, again, very humble, a place where luckily we have food because we're growing our own food. We're planting our own food. So that's why we never run on no food, right? But we can really afford things. It was very hard and tough, and it took some time for electricity, sanitation to arrive. And after I left, everything was good to go. And today is like way better, way better, right?
Did you have indoor plumbing and indoor toilets?
When I was growing up, that's when they implemented. So my grandpa used to go to the bushes in order for him to use the bathroom.
My wife, who's she's 50, she's just turned 50, so she's just 20 years old. She actually is in Portugal, which is more developed than Brazil. She would stay with her grandmother, and her grandmother had an outhouse. So part of the time when she grew up, she didn't have indoor toilets.
It was kind of the same thing. I remember growing up, a lot of water getting to our house because we live in a floating zone, and every time it rained, water was getting in, and it was a rough beginning, right? So my parents came over for a better life. Hey, I'm going to go to the U.S., we're going to give you a better life. So they left me and my sister were little kids, very young. And then almost after 6 years that they came. My sister was like a year and a half, 2 years old when they came first. Basically, one day my parents called me and say, hey, we're going to bring you to us. It's finally for us to reunite our family. And I'm like, great, I get to see my parents once again, right? The little thing that I knew about it was like I was going to be transferred. I was going to get given away to a coyote. Like a coyote, for those that don't know, is people that actually cross you from your country into the U.S. Mm. So basically the guardian of myself and my little sister, which she was 8 years old at the time, was given to these people. Now, we talked about earlier about the Sounds of Freedom movie.
Yeah, that movie.
That right there after I watched it, and today I have a 7, 8, and he's going to turn 8 at the end of the month, an 8-year-old myself. I'll never do that to my kid. But I understand why my parents do that, because that was the only way we could get reunited once again. Wow. So basically, the guardian of my life and my sister was given to those people that was going to bring us to see our parents again. And here's where the journey starts. You know, we went from Brazil to São Paulo to Mexico. I mean, from Espírito Santo to São Paulo to Mexico City for a day, waiting on people to arrive. More people arrived. And then from Mexico, we went to Cuba. Now it's like things are getting way out of control, because in my mind, I'm like, what's happening here? I don't know none of those people that's here besides just my sister. And in Cuba, they kept saying, some people's going to come and pick us up in a boat, on a yacht. And we'll just wait on this boat. We wait on this yacht to arrive. It never did. So one day they say, you got to transfer the island. So we got to go from Cuba to Bahamas now. So we went from Havana to Nassau in Bahamas. And then in Nassau, in this plane, I got to say this, they had chickens inside the plane. They had goats inside the plane. It was like a bus from a farm to a farm. What I was used to that, but not in a plane, right? It was super crazy, a little plane shaking the whole time. And this is over the Bermuda Triangle, like the Caribbean. Like, it's a really severe place to travel. And this is where I get really crazy, because once we arrived in Bahamas, we waited for another few days, and this boat finally arrived in the middle of the night. And then in the middle of the night, the coyote said, hey, now it's time, let's go. So I grabbed my sister, and we went into this boat, and then we got in the middle of the night. It was around 4:30, 5 a.m. in the morning. And then we took off from the dock towards Florida. So now we have Coast Guard on the way that we got to skip around. We had a hurricane that was on the way. We had the storms and just the regular January weather, right? So we're halfway in, and a big storm kicks in, and this is where I thought I was going to die. And I know God had a plan for me in the bay. That's why I didn't die. But in the middle of the sea, boat stopped working. Water's getting in. Boat sinking. They put me down to the motor side to start taking water out. And I'm getting this 5-gallon buckets. I'm taking water. And then as I'm taking the bucket out, the water level keeps rising up and up. It was not enough. So I tried to do faster. And at one point, I fainted. I just pass out, basically. So they pull me out of the water, put me in the back. They throw water in my face so I could keep awake. And someone else went there. Then the captain of the boat is under the water trying to fix this pump thing. And I don't know what they're trying to do. It's just a lot of people screaming. And I don't know if you ever been inside deep sea. Have you? Deep sea.
No.
So deep sea storm, you can Google it later, watch on YouTube. The waves, they don't crash, but it becomes a big wall in front of you. Yeah. So here we are, 20-foot fishing boat, 8-year-old and a bunch of people that I never met, a 16-year-old, I was 16 at the time, and then just crying out for our lives. The boat stopped working. There's nothing we can do. So by God's grace, that's what I say, and a miracle right there. The captain was able to get the boat to work once again. So he's able to pump the water out. So what it broke was the little pump that kicks the water out from the motor stopped working. That's why the water was getting in. So we go around the storm, and then we finally are able to not be in the storm anymore. And then it's Florida. It's just the storm just passed by. Hurricane season, right? It just passed by, and then right behind it, you have a nice sunshine again. And then we're able to get behind a house. Like, we went through this little canals, and then we parked the boat behind the house. And then the whole thing took us 21 days.
Wow.
We almost died. We almost did.
Wait, 21 days on the water? 21
days from Brazil to getting there. Yeah, the water was a day.
Wow.
Yeah, for one day, yeah. So now imagine, I tell my friends that I had to become a man at 16 because I had to take care of my sister. She was my everything. We could have been sold at any time. We could have been just given away at any time because this guy that we never met had a guardian. Meaning you want to buy this, kids? You want to buy it? You guys can have it, right? After watching, again, Sounds of Freedom.
It's probably pretty tough for you to watch.
Yes. I kept crying the whole time, and my wife is like, "Why are you crying?" I was like, "You not understand," because I see myself with that little kid and the little girl.
Just as a father, just watching it, I couldn't help but cry through the movie.
It was like a very emotional movie, and then we landed here, and in Florida, and then my parents was living in the Bay, so we came over to the Bay Area, and then he started one of the first Portuguese-speaking churches in the Bay Area, so I'm proud of him for that. He was a pastor, in the early 2000s. And
now, had you been raised in the faith, in the Christian faith?
Yeah, so growing up in Brazil, my grandma, my gold grandma, she, Grandma Nene, that's her name, Nene. She used to, she didn't know how to read. She had a Bible every single day. This is the image that I have, and that's why I need so much. She'll kneel by her bed, she'll grab the Bible, put it on her head, and it says, this is the prayer. Father, even though I don't know how to read what is in this book, I believe that everything is His truth and comes from your mouth. Protect my family, protect my kids, take care of them. In Jesus' name, amen. So it's like, that's the image that I grew up seeing. So I cannot follow into your footsteps. I cannot just ignore that, right? So, and then my dad, growing up also, you should take us to church, people today complain about they can't find parking. And that's why they don't go to church in the city. Like, boy, I walked for miles to get to church, and I was happy about it, right? And I finally arrived here, and then I get to see my parents once again. Great. I went to high school. Then I meet my wife in high school. She was 16. I was like, she's mine. I'm marrying this girl.
How old are you? How were you?
I was 17.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a year later. I meet her, and then I proposed to her at her junior prom because at her senior prom we're getting married.
Wow.
So last week we just celebrated 14 years of marriage.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. She turned 18 in December. We got married in May 2010. And then she finished high school June 2010. So it was like she was married in high school, and then basically we start life. That's how we started. And today she's the director of Pray the Bay. It's a nonprofit as well in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I love her so much. And we have a 7-year-old son that it's amazing, Isaac. And now we have another baby on the way.
And you've come full circle, and now you're both legal citizens. So
yeah, it took 17 years. I just celebrated 1 year of becoming an American citizen.
Yeah,
it was a big accomplishment. Yeah, it takes a lot, for you as an immigrant to get here. You're against the odds on every single thing, right? One thing that I find out when I got here, before I started my business, before I started working, was like, they don't want you here, but if you're here, they'll take your money in a way of, they'll give you a tax ID. What's the purpose of a tax ID?
Pay taxes.
Nothing else but pay taxes, right? They won't give you a social, because with the social security, now you can get benefits, right? So that's one of the things that helped me a lot when I applied for my green card. That's the first thing they asked. And even though you're illegal, that you knew you can pay taxes, right? I was like, yes, here's my tax return. They're like, what? You pay taxes even though you're illegal? Of course, I'm making money. Give it to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. That's simple, not mine, right? And then that helped me a lot when I applied for my green card. And at the time, my wife had to open up the business under her name, and I worked under her name. Just like the loops you got to go around.
What is it? Necessity is the father of invention.
Yes.
An innovator. Because you've had to learn how to innovate to survive and make it, and it's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful American story. Mm-hmm. So tell more about your role at what do you do at Experience Church?
Okay, so at Experience Church, I'm in charge of missions, right? I'm charging of not in charge, like I serve as a mission. It's a pleasure and honor for me to help with the outreach.
That's a volunteer position.
It's a volunteer position, outreach.
In fact, it's more than volunteer. You pay for all that.
I mean, we put together, the whole team put together a little money here and there, and then the church helps a lot with combined with food and snacks and things that we can get. So we have people in church that put together donations, and we just prepare the packages and the snacks, and we take with us, and then we serve the community. And today, we've been doing this for a few years, almost 5 years now. And we have served over 1,000 homeless, 1,000 people. So in the last 4 to 5 years.
And we went out yesterday, Monday. Yeah, a couple days ago with our friend Jim.
Yeah.
He loves to do outreach.
Yeah,
and
he
so
does.
we were meeting together and he said, hey, let's go do outreach. Like, okay.
Let's go.
I was so touched how simple it was. You know, you just put together those care packages and we went out and we connected with that Alberto.
Yeah.
And just showing him, just acknowledging him that he's a human being. He was so grateful for this. And then you offered to pray for him. He was in tears. He was just touched. It really spoke to me because you never know. I mean, generally, people need many encounters like that.
Yeah.
You can't have expectations that you're just going to wave your, finger and it's all going to be gone. But on the other hand, those tiny little encounters of human kindness means so much. It enriched our lives, but it really enriched his. We'll see.
Yeah. What do we tell them, Ted, is that, listen, I can offer you help. You don't have to accept it, but I can offer you help. Then oftentimes people think, oh, you give him money. No, I give more than money. I'm giving my love to him. I'm showing that, like, I love you as a human being. There's nothing different between you and I. There's nothing different between you and I. We're the same human being. God created both of us. I'm sorry that you're in this season. I'm sorry that you're walking towards, destruction. I'm here to offer you something that will bring you back to life. Like, do you want to change what your lifestyle?
I had a real powerful encounter once. I had been meeting with my friend. It's actually one of the board members of I lead a nonprofit.
Yeah.
I've been doing that my whole career. And, he'd bought me a beautiful lunch, but I was talking a lot. So I only ate half of my sandwich. So I'd saved the other half. It tasted really good. Then, I would go out to my car and the sandwich was in my car and there's a homeless woman there and two of them. So I got to practice what I preach. So I just talked to him, engaged with him. And then I asked the homeless woman, I'd like to pray for you. How can I pray for you? I said, what do you need? And she says, you've already done it. I go, what do you mean? She says this.
Just stop and talk.
Stop and talk. Acknowledged me as a human being.
Yeah.
And then I remembered my sandwich, which was actually a sacrificial gift. Like that. So I was looking forward to it. I got a sandwich in the car. You want it?
So
but it wasn't about giving food. It was about just acknowledging her as a human being.
Yeah.
Meant so much to her.
Yeah.
She was so grateful. Then she didn't even want the sandwich. I said, no. So she was, but it's not about giving food. It's about giving yourself.
Yeah.
Like you just give someone food, you give them something, they feel that demeaning look down piece, like maybe they'll take it. But
yeah, that's someone's daughter. Have you stopped and think that? That's someone's son sometimes. And it's like, I have my own son. I have my own kids, and I know how painful that can be for a father to see their kid in the situation that they are. And we don't do more than what we're supposed to, which is just be there for one another. And that's the beauty of it. Most of the time, they deny money, they deny food. Hey, thank you. They say that, thank you. All I wanted was exactly like you said, Ted, is thank you for taking your time and talking to me.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was impressed at, how you have cred because you've been doing it over and over and over, so they know you're legitimate. And seeing the way the people who knew you out there interacted with you. So, of course, the guy who's just meeting you the first time knows you're legit. And that's so powerful.
Yeah.
Tell about what's the effect. Where is your church and what's the effect on the neighborhood?
Yeah, so Experience Church is on 449 14th Street. Cross Street, Guerrero, if you want to go by and visit us. But we started
services on Sunday. You're welcome
Sunday.
to
we have every single day, Monday to Friday, we have a time of prayer, 6 a.m., 12 p.m., and 6 p.m. every single day in person. We also have prayer online. There's so many things you guys can look up. And also the service is still service on Sundays, 9:30 and 11:30, if anybody wants to come. So when the outreach happens every Sunday, 8 a.m. before service, so we go out on the streets on Sundays and also on Fridays with Pastor Evans, that's been doing this for 20. He's my Pastor Evans is
Pastor
the
Evans
GOAT. He is the real GOAT. And we're just trying to catch up to him. But Pastor Evans serves every Friday at 6 p.m. Mission is 16. We serve with them and we help them as much as we can. But we started the outreach because we saw a necessity. And not only that, but based on following what Jesus told us, if you're done for the least of these, you've done it for me. Right? That's what Jesus says.
It's joking with another friend, like, that's an incredible innovation. It's sad that it is. You know, Christianity, for Christians today, it's an innovation to actually do what Jesus told us to do. But, you know, at least you're doing it.
Yeah. So
more Christians need to.
Yes. Just, you know, go serve your city. But I feel like that a lot of people bring the problem, but they never bring the solution. And they always say, someone got to do something about this.
Yeah, it's
or sometimes they'll say, we got to do something about this. But the way I see it is, talking without acting is meaningless. Like, you can talk about it's just like as much as you can, but like, talk without caring.
We have far too many opinions. That's my impression of church. We have far too many opinions, far too many ideas, and far too little action.
Yeah, very little action, right? That's why, you know, the field is plenty, but the workers are few. It's for real, a real thing. Yeah. So I changed the someone's got to do something about it. I changed the we got to do something about it, and I engaged. I got to do something about it. If you say your I to yourself, if AJ, anybody say, I am going to do something about it, and then just start walking towards that, just walking with the intention, we'll have a better place. We will have a better place, but we got to stop thinking that someone or so-and-so got to do this. So the only reason why we started the outreach is because, you know, the demand and the fentanyl and everything that's happening is just like insane, right? And I saw a guy trying to break into my car. And I was like, hey, what are you doing, dude? Oh, I'm not going to rob you. I'm like, no, it's all good. What's your name? I approach him differently. And you saw it happen the other day too. A guy was about to serve me, drop all this chicken on my pants, brand new pants. I got to throw that away. I could act, I could react, but instead of I offer kindness. Hey, it's all good.
To be honest, you were discipling me at that moment. So I'm watching that. I go, if he had just spilled that on my pants, it would have taken a lot harder for me to discipline myself. But the kindness, and like, you immediately empathize with him. I think you were a waiter at one point.
Yeah.
And like, I mean,
yeah, it is what it is. So it's like, why react to something that we can just act into it, right? Act of kindness and just do the good. So we start serving the homeless around our church, and then now we got to go further out, because the people around our neighborhood, we're able to connect them with shelters in place where they can get housing. You saw one guy, Vincent.
Yeah. Vincent was teasing you, messing with you, you know, and then you know, acted like, you know, and then he pulls out his keys and he's showing off to you.
And he's like showing off, saying, I got a place, because
you've been praying for him.
Exactly. Yeah. We serve him every Sunday, all that. And then now we got to go further out, because the people around the neighborhood, they got into a shelter. They got into housing.
That one man, and he was sharing the word of the Lord with us. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, we call him the Angel Michael.
Yeah, you know, and like that's one of the mind shifts we had to make. And Evan Prosser, the OG, really taught me that. It's like, he takes it's the homeless church. He voluntarily became homeless, lived for many, many years out of a van, a converted van. So he calls himself upper middle class homeless. But he was homeless, and he took the church, what he wants to do, right to them. And he says, they're not the problem. They can disciple people. They are of value. They're a tremendous resource. And shifting my mindset with that, you know, we look like they're going from a problem to be solved to a human being made with eternal value and an incredible asset that just needs to be treated like a human being.
Yeah, the best days for me when I'm serving is whenever like a new person shows up that we don't know, trying to figure out how they are. And all of a sudden, you just preach the whole Bible to you. And here we are thinking that, we're going to go there and share the love of God to them so they can feel loved. And like this guys and ladies too, they just like smash us. No, I know that he loves me. And they will like read the Bible in front of you. And then what we're doing is not only offering prayer and breakfast and coffee and donuts, all that stuff, but we give them the Bibles. You know, we offer them the most valuable book that they can ever have. And now that is Sundays where we have people waiting on their tent for us to arrive and say, hey, we just wait on you guys. Let's read the Bible together today. And that for me is so fulfilling. And can you imagine that for Jesus? How much more that can be?
Some of the times the greatest innovation comes when we're just trying to solve a problem. In fact, you know, this is innovate, but it's not about innovating for the sake of innovating. It's about solving problems, solving the most important problems. And that's where really, you know, you tap into creativity, you tap into something bigger than yourself, and you really solve problems, is when you're not going about trying to innovate or be clever or be the fancy new church. in fact, you weren't even trying to clear out your streets.
Mm-hmm.
You were just trying to be faithful to this mandate that we need to love these people.
Yeah.
But now you go and the streets around your church
Yeah.
are clean.
Yeah.
Now it'd be interesting to do a study to validate that,
Yeah.
but that's going to be very, very hard. And there's different ways to go about it. There's other churches that, do not want those people there, and it's NIMBY,
Yeah.
and they put up walls or lights or whatever to make sure that it's clean. You guys went about it just choosing to love this community.
Just
And as
kindness.
a result, your neighborhood's being cleaned up.
Yeah.
So like we ran across one of your neighbors.
Yeah.
It's not a member of your church.
not a member.
Oh, she loves you. She loves you guys because she feels safe. She had a problem with one of the homeless people.
Yeah.
And she knew someone she could talk to.
Yeah.
She talked to you all and you resolved that problem with her.
Yeah. So it's like finding the solution without having to harm anybody, without just a talk, a conversation. And a lot of people think, again, they're just criminals. They're doing drugs. They're doing this. Okay, they might have, going through a bad path right now, but they're still a human being. They're still someone's daughter, someone's son. And that's the goal. The goal is just to help people become who they're born to be. All I want to see, Ted, is people understand that sometimes they have a calling for mission. Sometimes I really want to go to Africa and help people and all this, which is perfect.
It's beautiful, wonderful.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. But it's like, how do you say that you have a calling for serving and we step out of your doorstep and you have a homeless there and you just step over?
Yeah.
How can you say you have calls for mission like if you're not even serving the person that's in front of you, right? How do you want to change the whole world if you don't even fix your own bed when you wake up? That's for the Gen Zs, It's like, change the mentality of like, do not try to do this big thing at once. Start with a little.
Yeah, there's one passage
Simple.
in the scriptures where it says, if you run with the foot soldiers and they tire you out, you're not ready to run with the horses.
Exactly.
Just be take care of what's right in front of you. Take action.
Yeah.
And you'll be amazed at what happens.
Yeah.
What my big dream is that more people who talk will put that talk into action.
Yeah.
Demonstrate it. So if you're a person of faith, great. That's wonderful. Show me your faith by what you do.
Yeah.
No one's going to fight about that. That's not going to cause divisions. That's not going to cause political wars. That's not going to cause riots by you taking care of people. We need more of that type of action.
Yeah.
And I want to see, I love the way your neighborhood, you would see it as visually, we could see it right there. Like this neighborhood is clean. And we walked a little bit further and like, this is what it used to look like. Oh, wow. Like the light is spreading out and from the inside out, it's getting clean. And there was that man was actually cleaning the streets. I forgot about that. He was cleaning the streets. He had a job. He was happy doing it, filled with joy, even though he was teasing us because he was working on a holiday.
Yeah.
Then he brings out his keys and he's so happy, so filled with joy.
Exactly.
And we can see healing come from the inside out. I want to see more of the faith community working together. Yeah. Imagine if all the different faith communities did that and took care of their area.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it take long? And we've seen this happen in other cities. That's for another conversation. Yeah. Wouldn't it take long before it'll transform the entire city?
Yeah.
It can happen.
That's the goal.
All right. Well, that's the call to action.
Yeah.
This is innovate. So the innovation that we're calling you to is go do something.
Do something.
Don't just talk about it.
Yeah.
Go do something.
Tenderloins are coming for you.
All right.
That's
so how can people find your church? Experience?
Yeah. Experience Church. They can just Google.
What's the website?
Experiencechurch.com. Yeah.
Experiencechurch.com.
And also praydebate.org. It's a nonprofit organization. I know the name says Pray Debate, but it's a nonprofit organization that will help in the community where we're just spreading out throughout the whole Bay Area. We're going to start with Stanford now. I connect with the people in Stanford.
Wonderful.
So it's going to be awesome. So praydebate.org and Experience Church.
All right. And you can find me, Ted Hahs. I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm the founder of Innovate. And hey, if you want to take action, reach out to me. I generally respond to direct messages. I'm also on social media, on Twitter, X, Instagram. Smash the like button and subscribe to this podcast. Share it with your friends. Let's take action. Let's do it. We need your help. Innovate is not about these professionals. It's about a grassroots movement to solve the world's biggest problems, to create the society that we want to give to our children and our grandchildren. It starts with us. Let's get beyond pointing the finger, complaining, telling everything that should be done to actually going and doing it. Let's go be part of the solution. Let's overemphasize action and cut down and underemphasize arguing. Especially if you want to take action, reach out to me. That's the type of people I want to hear from. All right, so thank you for your attention.